Okay, so here we have project number 2, an Epiphone that has a little problem. This is going to be the first time I've ever attempted a headstock repair. Here is said headstock, and as you can see, there's a nice long, relatively flat area of wood there to glue to. And that's the important thing. You need a lot of space for the glue so that your joint will hold afterwards. And of course, clamping is going to be very, very important as well. So right now, what I'm going to do is take all of the hardware and stuff off so that I can get clamps on it. And I'm going to try and make this into just a single video this time because it's a fairly simple procedure. And I'll come back shortly and we'll continue to discuss what's happening once I have things ready to start work. So now we have all of the hardware removed from the headstock so that it's a nice, clean, flat piece of wood. I have examined the joint both on the headstock and the neck, and I have test fit it a few times to see where everything's going to lie when it comes back together. And then I've removed anything that is preventing it from getting a nice, firm, clean joint. So now what's going to need to happen is there's going to need to be glue put there and there, and everything's going to be mated together. I'm going to have a warm damp rag and a dry rag ready to wipe away excess. And I'm also going to use some plastic and cut a couple pieces of plastic that will go one on one side, one on the other, after I've done that cleaning, of course, because you don't want the glue to possibly cause it to stick, although plastic it probably won't, but just in case. And then we will put a clamp over the joint, and we will make certain that it's held good and firm for a couple of days. You want it to, yes, 24 hours is enough to dry glue, but it might not still be fully cured, and we don't want to put string tension on it too early and have it just peel off the work we just did, of course. So it's Saturday now. I'll do a quick segment as well that just shows everything done and the clamps in place. And then on Wednesday, we'll take everything off and start putting the hardware back on and see what we got. And here we are. We have the headstock refastened. And as I described, I've put a little bit of plastic underneath the pads, just in case there's imperfections in the pads or pores. I don't want to end up gluing the clamp to the neck and having that issue to have to deal with afterwards. So just a couple of thin bits of plastic underneath. I've gone about, of course, trying to make this as clean as possible, this joint, so that everything is right back exactly where it had been before, and any of the little nooks and crannies are actually kind of sitting inside themselves the way they were when it was originally attached. So now we're going to give this a few days before we remove everything, because as I said before, yes, the glue is going to be dried in 24 hours, but it might not be actually 100% set, and we want, of course, for this not to ever move again afterwards, so we'll give it plenty of time. And then we'll go about putting the hardware back on, and we'll see what we got. After the glue has fully set, this sure looks like a mess, but it's going to hold together, I'm sure. I now have the saddle in place, and I have a excellent, perfect straight edge. And what I'm seeing is, yes, I have decent action. This is going to be good. Even though the saddle is a little higher than I normally would like to leave it, obviously it's going to need to be that high in order to achieve the nice action. And so we're going to string it up and see what we have as a result. I can say in the one instance here, I'm going to have to learn um, how to clamp it better so that it remains more stable. There is a slight shift. I only used one clamp, and it shifted upward, just like a half a millimeter or so. It's not going to really affect it all that much, but certainly if I was doing a nicer guitar, I would want that to be cleaner. So I'm going to have to maybe rig a method of putting, say, 3 clamps around something like this in the future. So, next to the sound test. So here we have it. It's all back together, obviously. As I said, I would probably clamp differently, one top, one bottom, and then one down here, probably to get it to close up a little tighter, but obviously it's worked. I would suggest, if you're interested in this kind of stuff, just get your feet wet. Do what I'm doing. Learn how to do it by watching others on YouTube. Thanks for coming.